gun thing. Body of you missing dog and no front thing.
Stack up on a barricade, they dance them.
Operate like say you work on the
People, welcome back to Politics Watch. This is Sir P. Now, as the saying goes, you cannot teach an old mule new tricks. Or is it old dog?
Human rights lawyer Mr. Extraordinary Isat Buchanan, a man of great knowledge, dignity, passion and love for the people of his nation.
Anyway, the world spreads new quote-unquote human rights lawyer.
He dedicated his lifelong work to fight the embedded oppression within the legal system of Jamaica, which is always a strong presence in the daily lives of the citizens.
I start the PR campaign early. You might have seen a video going around on people that say, oh, see, even Fox News take it up. No.
However, Mr. Buchanan said, I am always coming under criticism by critics, mainly because Vybz Kartel's my client.
That's not Fox.
But I am not deterred from my ambitions and aims as a lawyer to point out the deep corruptions within the legal system of Jamaica wherever I sees it possible.
News. That's Fox 5 NY. There's a big difference. You see the strategy that Isat Buchanan is using.
My critics, that doesn't appreciate my works today, who knows, might just need my help tomorrow, he said jokingly.
Is, as you would have heard in my previous video, the same old trick. The only trick he has up his sleeve. Go to the media first, set the narrative, go to a media house that is willing to listen, right? Willing for, I guess, I don't know, whatever means him use to get them, right, to work with him. Right? But go to a media house that is willing to listen, right? Set the narrative. He knows the public are going to then say, see it? If you come upon news, then it must be real.
I am a man of God, and I shall be there to help them if ever miraculously get caught in within the system the wrong way. That my job, my passion. I just love to help others.
Have you heard that rubbish? It started off by saying he's bigger than Tupac, Jay-Z, Easter Bunny and Santa Claus in Jamaica. Which news platform you ever hear start off so? Sound like a paid promo. Sound like a ad. Go up on them YouTube channel and go check the numbers. Nobody watches that garbage. Fox 5 NY.
Buchanan quoted, life is like a game of chess. To win you must be patient. And most importantly, very strategic. I am a lawyer, it's all about being strategic. It's particularly important as a lawyer to have these skills.
TVJ bigger than that. The Observer bigger than that. Loop News bigger than that. But you see, Isat Buchanan no say. Enough Jamaicans frightened for foreign, and from it they are foreign, it must be real. I mean, the only people were willing to listen. The journalists didn't even bother to research. But me say, it literally sound like an ad. Paid promo.
Buchanan's recent move in defense of his client Vybz Kartel was very strategic. And highly criticized by Sir P, the unknown internet blogger, Mr. Opinionative. Buchanan releases the information of United Kingdom's digital experts' finding of his client BlackBerry mobile device. It was extremely important for me to have the finding be broadcasted on an international station, such as Fox 5 New York City, so that other parts of the world can understand the corruption within the trial of my client. I could have more than likely gone to a Jamaica station, but how effective and worldwide spread would that have been?
What them talk about tampering? Today I'm going to tell you about.
The broadcasts updated on Fox 5 News of the findings from the digital experts who had flown in from the United Kingdom to examine my client BlackBerry mobile device for tampering.
This is the length, your favorite entertainer, and clearly the people whom I work with, and clearly somebody in our legal team went to. Right. To get him out of the case, I don't want to talk about tamper. When we really want to talk about tampering, alright, we could talk about the phone. When you really want to know what's going on with the phone?
Had confirmed, just as I had suspected throughout the trial appeal, that information being used is not accurate and in some instances doesn't seems likely to be correct information. The tampering of the mobile device, which was brought before the appeal court as evidence in Mr. Palmer last appealed.
I'll tell you, in a court, when them ask the policeman, how comes the phone? Right, make call. Because remember, you know, Isat Buchanan said him go for expert. And experts said the phone get tampered, but you notice it's very vague. Tampered how? Were the images and videos doctored? Did they splice somebody's body and put on top of it and then get how? Very vague. Tamper?
This evidence was rejected and thrown out by the prosecution judge, Leonard Campbell, which in my words,
open up a cup of coffee. Open up on a tea. You see, Isat Buchanan thinks he's ahead of his time. He also thinks every Jamaican is a simpleton. That's why he thinks by going to a Mickey Mouse local affiliate channel in America, he can somehow be able to dominate the narrative. Once again, just like with the case with the Rasta, with the pitney with the dreads, wrong again. Wrong again. We'll never be able to dominate the narrative. Let me tell you about that phone. Do you know why the Jamaican justice system can't tell the people them what really happened with that phone? It's because it would be the biggest egg on the face of the justice system, right, in recent memory.
And in any of our first world court of law, this is unlawful, and certainly a violation of my client's constitutional rights to a fair trial.
You see, the phone was in a locker, and the police then, down a cyber unit, put the key for the locker on top of the locker. Let me say that again. The phone, after it went into police custody, them locked the phone in one locker and put the key on top of the locker. Now if that's not amateur, I don't know what is. Therefore, anybody down there could just take the key off the top of the locker and go in or use it.
Many critics, mainly YouTuber internet blogger Sir P. Mr. Opinionative, doesn't understand the law and how it works.
So when you see but phone make calls, the phone made 3 calls, 3 calls after it was in custody. Now here's the thing.
The constitution rights of every individual must be respected by law enforcement officials.
There are no writing on this or the tamper with the phone. People of Jamaica, you're the real shameful part for the justice system. You're the part of them don't want the Jamaican. This is what they can't admit to the Jamaican public. That a member of the said police station, police unit, an official, was acting on behalf of the world spread.
How insane is this man?
We did want to know. So make sure someone having a cup of coffee and thirsty tea. The somebody we're going to go use the phone. Turn on the phone, use the phone, make all kind of calls.
Sir P said, this act was done by a police that was assigned by my client Mr. Palmer.
That person was acting on the behalf of the world spread. This was another in the long line of attempts to tamper with the case.
He even refused the fact that the justice system is full of corruptions.
Una already see say them willing to send Gaza Slim to lie and say, but she's a lizard. Una see say them willing to go to both witness say him now come a court cause him still lizard. Una see. Right? With the jury, the juror and all that. Oh, and by the way, there was also a juror who didn't even have left the case because them woke up and the juror's son in a jailhouse and them threatened the youth and the youth make him mother know and she have to come out for the case. So we know the lengths they're willing to go to.
I must strongly emphasize that missing pieces of information, tampering of important evidence likewise, inaccurate information presented in the trial or any material that was released to the public, do certainly makes this case a mystery.
Now you might think to yourself, me not believe that. Me not believe that. That person was not acting on the behalf of the world spread. They were not trying to help the world spread. Okay, now we're going to see the difference between educated and intelligence. Comment section, get ready. Answer this question. If somebody is arrested and charged, and evidence is gathered and collected from them, if somebody was to go and use the evidence, for example, this phone, turn it on and make call, would that person be helping the prosecution or the defense?
People, which are governed by the courts. The law is the law, and it must be applied in every circumstances and to everyone. Now the truth is undeniable, clear to everyone, across the world.
Who would benefit more from the evidence being used in any way, shape or form? Prosecution or the defense? I'm going to be looking in the comment section.
When
No,
the truth is clear.
sense.
The police that used the phone to make the calls didn't use the mobile device to help the defendants nor the prosecution. The police used the phone for his own personal benefit.
Constable Simon, Constable Crook, Constable Wangagot is going into the locker to take out that phone. He says, "Me go turn on the phone and make call for show the phone I use." How would that constable possibly be trying to help sink the world spread? How would that officer, how would that agent, how would that official in any way help the prosecution? That would hurt the prosecution, because what you then have is what you have now, where a lawyer can say, "See, the phone was in custody, my client never have it, yet still it was being used." That show you say the evidence get tampered with, the evidence get tampered with, the evidence get tampered with. That person was acting on the behalf of the world spread, but the justice system, the legal system, the police cannot admit that, because then the entire justice system would look like an even bigger joke than it already looked. The legal system, the police cannot admit that, because then the entire justice system would look like an even bigger joke than it already looked. The legal system, the police cannot admit that, because then the entire justice system would look like an even bigger joke than it already looked. Because people will then ask the question, how many other times did people go in a locker go take out phone?
All those who have now being drawn to the case from have now seen the highlights that are now been shown by every internet personnel. Even the blind can see that the Jamaican law enforcement are corrupted and need be reformed. Let's be frank.
How many other times people go in a locker go take out phone and delete things off of the phone? You see, in this case, them couldn't delete it, because as soon as them carry it in, right, cyber unit take out the chip and take off the evidence. So the police are going there, go open the locker. Anything you think you might go in there for delete, it was already take off. Hey, what's the next best thing? Use the phone, make call upon the phone, see that the phone I get used. So the only good thing them do was to take off the evidence as soon as them get it. Because if them did wait too long, if the somebody were going there go actually start make the phone call them and all them thing there, they never know where they on the phone. We could talk about evidence. We could talk about tampering.
Even the blind can see that the Jamaican law enforcement are corrupted and
You see, the argument the world spread lawyer I try to put forward is this. I'm going to give you an analogy. Let's say I am married to Simone. Simone going on my phone, right? Me left my phone, gone outside, right? Go and do some gardening. Right? Simone going on my phone, go see one video, right? And me and Maybelline, right? And we do big people things. She also find some voice note me send give Maybelline. I tell her, I say, oh, the night before was so amazing and I can't wait for it again. And I love how she did rub me down and she get all them things. She then confronts me. Me say, you know what? Me I go send for man a foreign. Me I go send for one expert to see if you tamper if you go on my phone. So big foreigner come down. Say, yes, you know what? This phone, because you left the phone at 10:22, right? And at 10:25, while you were outside, the phone get access, right? So yes, the phone, right, was tampered with. Me then turn around to Simone and say, see it, I am innocent. I am innocent because, right, you're going on my phone. That would be ridiculous, right? What they want to believe is that because the phone was quote unquote tampered, the evidence tonight somehow becomes, right, fairy tale. The evidence tonight somehow, right, not real.
that's example you explain about poor broken-hearted Simone, as an example is prophetic and doesn't describe tampering of evidence in this case. Maybe you've forgotten that Simone isn't a law enforcement official. So save you opinionative opinion for the uneducated who actual believe all this crap you now fabricates.
Speaking about evidence we hide. Obviously, I can't show you the video. I'm going to put it on Patreon and after the full commentary, I'm also going to describe who in the video. Because I didn't know mad system did it. But of course, there's a certain number of the Klansman gang in the video. The person who did the main damage to Isat, by the way. So that will go up on patreon.com. But I'm going to play a couple audio clips. Right? This is what come out of the phone. What you go hear is when them outside of the room I try to discuss how them are going to take Isat life. Them a plan. Listen up closely. Shh.
This can kill you, man. We have to swing it right and make it catch me.
That's the world spread. Telling Roderick, said, this can take Isat life, but be careful you swing it, man, it catch me. He's talking about a pickaxe. But what them want you to believe is that because the phone get 3 calls while it was in evidence, somehow
When the truth is clear, the police that used the phone to make the calls didn't use the mobile device to help the defendants nor the prosecution. The police used the phone for his own personal benefit. Maybe he wasn't even aware of the damage it would have caused to the case. The unprofessionalism of the criminal law justice system in Jamaica is alarming and forever questionable.
this no exists. Like on the video, people no see say I Roderick that. Like people no see mad sauce. Right? Oh, but you can't see them face. Well, the screenshot we are looking on is a quick blur. It's a quick blur in him at the worst spot of video. Because you know he's that, his IQ is that high. This is the guy who goes on, does something like this and video the whole thing. Right? Absolute genius. Right? But you think to yourself, alright, it blurry, me can't really make out. Who that? Him look kinda Spanish Town people, who they spawn on the screen? Who they spawn on the screen? With the hat and the don't worry, let me show you a clearer picture. Spanish Town people, who that? Who that? See, Roderick is the other genius in all of this. Right in the middle of it, he decides to stop and take a picture and pose with the pickaxe. Telling you, these guys' IQ must be like 500. Let me play another audio clip from the video. Shh, listen closely. Tell Need for Speed, aka the transporter, Sean Stamp record but make the witness stay. You see, the rest of this conversation was relayed to the rest of the Klansman name by Roderick himself. Him and the world spot was going back and forth over not just who for witness what go happen, but what go happen to the witness. You see, World Sprat want him to see what happened to Isat. We send a message to him. Roderick, I say, yeah, not for go on. But what you don't hear is that Roderick end up start telling the World Sprat, say, if the witness live, then there's a possibility same can go talk. So said, so done. But of course the witness didn't live because the World Sprat decided to be nice. The witness lived because, well, if you haven't seen the video, Constable Pitt. Witness take himself and Constable Pitt stopped the World Sprat from catch the witness. Speaking about witness, Isat Buchanan continues to push the narrative through the media that the case is built around the phone.
The appeal case currently pending is entirely about the unauthorized and unlawful use of the mobile device. This violates Kartel constitutional rights under the Criminal Amendment Act. The mobile device is the co-reason that the appeal was granted to Vybz Kartel by the Privy Council, and also, the main reason the Privy Council will have to grant him back freedom and liberty. The witness is irrelevant at this stage of the appeal, and also to the appeal court. The main focus now is the tampering of the BlackBerry.
And for years, the Jamaican people here say, all them have is circumstantial evidence, complete nonsense. The witness means that they have direct evidence. The case has direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. The case was not built around the phone, the case was built around the witness. But they continue to repeat this lie because them thinks that everybody at Jamaica is a simpleton and nobody knows in a sense. And if them just set the narrative, then them are just telling you times are changing. Times are changing. And the witness, the star witness, the case built around. Phone and everything else is supplemental. Them show the witness and them say, yeah, that tattoo there, that's Mad Sus. Yeah, that's him, that's him. The case was built around the witness, not the phone. Even upon that Mickey Mouse so-called big foreign channel, you hear them. The BlackBerry is not the BlackBerry, the case is built around the witness. No matter how many times you LIQ agents repeat that lie, it will not become the truth.
I must strongly emphasize that missing pieces of information, tampering of important evidence likewise. Inaccurate information presented in the trial or any material that was released to the public, certainly makes this case a mystery. And very hard for any judge to accurately establish guilt on my client without a shadow of a doubt, or even, as a matter of fact, for anyone to arrive at such conclusion, which supports any actual facts of guilt.
But again, it's all about the narrative. Remember, according to the world spread fan base, him now have nothing to do with Klansman, him no know Roderick, or it's just coincidence that's the person of the video, right? Same hand, same tattoo, same clothes, right? Just so happen to be Roderick. He now have nothing to do with the world spread, he now have nothing to do with him. Him no know Roderick, him and Roderick are a friend. It's all a lie. You sure about that? So who them two man here? Who that on the left, who that on the right? Oh, I get it, Mr. LIQ. Oh, he's just a fan. The world spot don't know him, right? He's just a fan just come ask the world spot for a picture, right? That don't mean nothing, right? It's still not tied the world spot, the Roderick. Right? It still don't mean nothing. Right? Just a bad mind the artist, you fight against the artist. It don't mean nothing. What you saying? Don't mean nothing. Look on your screen right now.
I respect the house of God.
Yeah, man, him not gonna do it, man.
Yeah, I know.
No, cause you're a gangster. Like at different levels.
Last time I turn up a pulpit, you know, man, I know that Maxim, you know.
Praise the Lord.
The last time I turn up a pulpit, I'll know that mark. And you're extremely intelligent. World spread. The man who for years is supposedly this brilliant mind. Again, we're talking about 16-second sprinters, thinking 13-second sprinters, right? Fast. People who say the world spread is this brilliant mind and he's so highly, they might compare him to themselves. He's in a room with Roderick. Right? Roderick wanted from Bulby days, Roderick were constantly in and out. And then, not just discussing this topic, him then turn on the camera and put it on himself. But don't worry, it's all a lie. Him don't know Roderick, man. I set up a splice, all of this splice. Yeah, the DPP, right? Yeah, the DPP use Photoshop and put all of this together. Yeah, man, everything tampered. Right? I make them make up things to get views. You see, a favorite so-called journalist with the big team that them have and the whole resources them have, them could have put together a video like this much faster, much sooner. But do they really want to destroy the narrative? As me say, enough of them are agents. Or maybe them just afraid for them life, me don't know.
As a human rights lawyer, I vow to continue to point out the injustice of the law enforcement officials in Jamaica criminal justice system. I aim to set as many innocent people free from the embedded oppression rooted deep within the justice system.
Let's get something straight as well. You see, if the worst part was in case, it would be because of the amateur hour will take place down a cyber unit. It will be because the big wigs them say, well, even though the evidence on the phone is overwhelming, and even though there is a witness, direct evidence, them never manage this properly and all that, so them are going to throw the case. That's the only way.
I must strongly emphasize that missing pieces of information, tampering of important evidence likewise, inaccurate information presented in the trial or any material that was released to the public, certainly makes this case a mystery, and very hard for any judge to accurately establish guilt on my client without a shadow of a doubt, or even, as a matter of fact, for anyone to arrive at such conclusion, which supports any actual facts of guilt. As a human rights lawyer, I vow to continue to point out the injustice of the law enforcement officials in Jamaica criminal justice system.
The fact that they allowed, the fact that they put key on locker and allow an agent acting on behalf of the world spread.
How insane is this man?
If you go use phone and make call and all kind of things.
Fact that the justice system is full of corrupt.
Means say, if the world spread was the case, this fall on the shoulders of the cyber unit,
which is mainly stems from the injustice unleashed by the law enforcement officials of Jamaica. Do remember to subscribe to this channel right now. Let the truth be your guide. Special shout out to Mr. Opinionative, Sir P, for saying this.
Amateur operation of the decade. That's like locking your gate, that's like locking your door and left the key in the door at night time. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Bugs Bunny. Make us see it turn out now. Isat Buchanan, understand something. The people them where try convince, them already convinced that the world spread. Innocent, him no Ratrick, him not nothing for the lizard. Lizard alive somewhere, just a hide. The God is slim and all, that's all just a strange mishap. Right? You don't need to convince them. They're already convinced the world spread. Right? They've convinced themselves. They're lying to themselves, because people can't do that. So the world spread now nothing to do with lizard or badness in general. He was not funding the Clansman gang. He had nothing to do with them. They already make up their mind. So when you go link Mickey Mouse foreign channel claiming to be a quote-unquote human rights lawyer, just because they know the Jamaican thing say the foreign man ice colder, and I'm going to say, well, a foreign, so a big thing, so it must see it. That means say, oh, we didn't know. Innocent. One thing I can admit is that you understand the culture well, and you know the type of people you're dealing with, except the mistake you made is to assume, say, at the whole of Jamaica are simpletons. This case is going to be interesting. The outcome is going to be very interesting. But you know what isn't a surprise?
Andrew Holness, in a recent interview after the assassination of Haiti's president, announced his disappointment with the criminal law justice system and the law enforcement officials of Jamaica. He said he doesn't trust their capabilities and sometimes rational judgment, and certainly doesn't want to be associated with any members of the law enforcement officials would indulge in these kind of criminal activities as a law enforcement official. He goes as far as to say he will rooted these bad apples from the lots that are spoiling the whole bunch. The incompetent behavior of the Jamaican law enforcement officials are disgusting and disgraceful, and they should be held accountable for their actions of using the incriminative mobile device of Kartel while he's in their custody fighting for his freedom. Mr. Opinionative.
Surprise. The strategies of Isat Buchanan. He is as predictable as sunrise.
Please do check out the extraordinary Isat Buchanan full story. The link will be pinned in the description.
And almost as predictable as the people who normally turn up in the comment section of videos like this and tell me, say, oh, them did like me, but them not like me again, and them now watch no more videos. You say that in the same videos over and over again. When are you going to grow some cojones and fulfill your promise?
Relax and enjoy. Pleasant viewing. Do share this video, as it is greatly appreciated. Until next time. Peace, love and blessings always. XqLusivaSoundsUKTV.